choose something kinder, truer, more aligned with where you are today, a lot can change in 6 months. And you have already changed more than you think. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Soul-u-tions podcast. I am so grateful that you are here today. Truly, thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your valuable time with me. I know there are a million other things that you could be doing. And I have a favor to ask you. If you find this episode helpful, would you please pause right now? Well, you haven't heard it, so I'm just assuming you're going to find it helpful. But if you've loved all the other episodes, before we get started, would you share this episode with a friend and just say, hey, I listen to Tara and her Soul-u-tions podcast all the time, and I always find a little nugget of wisdom in here, and hope that you enjoy this episode. Boop, just hit send. And then that way, it's all that housekeeping stuff's out of the way, and you've already done it. So pat yourself on the back. One fun, nice, kind thing that you have done today for someone else to let them know that you care. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. It's July, the halfway point of the year. And I think July is an underrated moment for a true reset. It doesn't have the frantic energy of New Year's. And it's not rushed, or you're not pressured to push at the end of the year. It's spacious. It's reflective. It's hot. It's summer. So it's the perfect time to take a little moment for yourself and deep breath, hand over the heart, and say, how do I want the rest of the year to feel? Because no matter how the first part of 2025 has gone, you get to choose how it ends. All right. Before we dive in and I'll walk you through it, I want you to enjoy the intro. As someone told me just recently, they said, Tara, I love listening to the intro of your podcast. It's always a great reminder for me that there are different levels of thinking, and it reminds me to elevate my level of thinking from the problem level to the solution level. So with that in mind, enjoy the intro. Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Most everyone in the world is solving their problems the wrong way. Our problems come from our thinking, and we can solve them with our thinking. So whether you're at your lowest, just trying to grow, or whether you are trying to sustain growth over your lifetime, join us as we push the boundaries of our current thinking and redefine how we find solutions.
The hope and the strength and the love and the smiles and the laughter of friends and family. Add it up, you'll find no limit to the possibilities.
This week, it is, I was just telling cute Ethan, my producer, I'm like, it is July 1st, and all the little last minute obstacles and hurdles that just I was bombarded with to get here to this moment to record this podcast for you is just, I'm just laughing at it all. For the first time, I guess since Christmas or something, we have all 3 boys in the house, and at the same time, for less than 24 hours, on our way for our July 4th beach vacation. And so anyway, this afternoon was just that convergence of everybody at one point needing things, trying to get out of town. And I actually am so glad to have this moment with you to talk through a reset, because even just that little bit of consternation, chaos, mixed in with total swelling heart happiness to have my house full of all my people in anticipation of what the next week is going to be like all of it, the energy of it. I need a breather already, and we haven't even left town. So if you ever feel this way, then I want you to just say, thank you, divine timing. I am exactly where I need to be and doing the things that I need to do today in this moment, which are to breathe. But yesterday, Nat, my oldest, he surprised me by coming home a day early and spending some time with us. And I mean, he was at my house working before I had gotten out of bed and pushed start on the coffee maker. And so, I'm so proud of him. He's 25 now. He's living his best life. He truly is. And watching him navigate this part of his life with such confidence and kindness and real joy, it brings me so much delight because it wasn't always easy for Nat. He spent so much of his childhood in pediatric cancer hospitals while his brother, Brennan, was fighting leukemia. And as a mom, I was so intentional about making sure that Nat felt as important as Brennan and as important as the baby, Christopher. It was hard though. I mean, really carving out for each kid in the midst of, I talk about the chaos of getting ready for the 4th of July, the everyday chaos of trying to get 2 kids to school and trying to, shepherd another kid who was so desperately sick in a children's hospital. It really required a lot of reflection, a lot of reflection in just those in between moments. Like if I was the one staying at the Target house and dropping the boys off at school and then driving to the hospital to meet Turner and Brennan, that moment of the carpool time between dropping off at school and driving to the hospital became my time for reflection. Or the minutes from parking your car and walking into the building, there was this little path that had these beautiful crepe myrtle trees hanging over it. And every now and then the birds would just be lighting on a limb. I remember this one moment where it was so slowed down because I would walk this path in a very meditative way, like intentional, 1 foot over the other. And I got to see this amazing moment of a bird swooping down and catching this insect, this little worm in its mouth, and then fly back up. And I was like, wow, I'm so glad that I was slowed my mind down enough, all the mental chatter and the noise in my brain enough to be in this reflective place where I could pick up things like that. So, watching Nat now as a grown up is I think, a testament to the power of this kind of slowing down energy, of noticing what matters, of choosing who you want to be and how you want to show up for your family intentionally, even when life is painful or uncertain. And it's also a reminder that a lot can change in just 6 months' time, right? Like we're here on July 1st recording this. You're going to hear this next week around the 7th, 8th, 9th, somewhere in there. And so much can change between that moment and the end of the year. But in order for it to not just change so haphazardly, but to change with a sense of intentionality. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. That's why I love this idea of a July reset, not as a punishment, not because you should do more or to try to be better, right? You are not a self-improvement project. You are a beautiful soul who is having a human experience. And it takes slowing down to remember that. Oh, I'm a human. I'm like a soul having a human experience. I'm not just a human doing. I'm not just my output in this world, what I produce in this world, all the productivity. I'm really a soul here who is like, I don't know, enjoying the miracle of life. And so this July reset is meant as a gift to you, as a gentle check in to notice where you are right now and to decide where you want to go next. Okay. I have a few reflective questions for you to ponder. And I'm going to tell you this. If you see my eyes going up and down, we are trying a new thing where instead of notes in front of me, I have Ethan has put these notes on a screen. So my eyes move. They are looking so that I can make sure I get exactly the words that I want to share with you today on these reflective questions. Okay, so here they are. You don't have to journal them all today. You can think about them while you're walking the dog, while you're driving, doing the dishes, whatever. All right. Now, if you do have a pen, though, and a journal, you can write this down. But here's the first question. What's feeling true and life-giving to you right now? What's feeling true and life-giving to you right now? All right, here's the second question. What feels heavy or outdated? What feels heavy or outdated? I love this next question. What are you proud of from this year so far? This is the place to put your celebrations, your wins, your humble and not so humble brags about yourself. Like really brag about yourself in this section. And the last question, if the next season had a theme or a word, what would it be? And the Soul-u-tions Labs were really big on having words of the year. So if you chose a word of the year, this is a great time to check in, say, does this word still feel like my word of the year? Do I feel complete in this word, or am I excited to move deeper into what this word has to teach me? Okay, now, before we go any deeper, I do want to thank you for listening truly. And again, I just want to remind you we've just listed all these great questions. This is the perfect time to send this to someone else, right? Share it, please, with someone. Send it to someone, say, oh my gosh, these are the best questions. Just send it to them. Say, let's be partners in sharing your answers with one another, because the research is so clear on all of this that, first of all, writing these questions down and journaling your answers are huge, huge, huge when it comes to living out the future that you want to create. Journaling is a profound tool for that. And then the next profound tool is sharing with someone, having an accountability partner, reading the words that you've written down on your paper, speaking them into existence, and having someone else just bear witness to them, not to brainstorm with you, not to do anything. And when you have someone, you create a community, right? A shared experience. You're my BFF in this part of life. And it's a joy to share it with someone. Okay, so make sure you share this and that you've both subscribed so that you can have these conversations all the time. All right, now, one thing I know from working with so many women is this. Giving yourself the specific time and space to reflect is the thing that is missing from most of our lives. Truly, I shared my experience of just trying to get here. We are doing the best we can, and our best laid plans are constantly interrupted by all of the people that we are caring for in our lives, or just so many other unknown factors. It could be the air conditioner has gone off. What happened in our house this week? Oh, my car handle came off the car, and the door isn't closing all the way, right? There's just a million different things that come up. And we prioritize those things over our time reflecting on who we want to be and how we want to show up. And I really do see this all the time. It's really one of the single biggest hurdles to people achieving the life that they want and having a life that they love is just the lack of, maybe it's a ritual, maybe it's a space to reflect. So I want to, again, today normalize for you the importance of pausing and holding space for yourself. To keep choosing what's true, even when life is busy or complicated. And remember, if you find it hard to prioritize this, you aren't alone. And that's exactly why I created the Soul-Shine Labs. And so just a little seed I want to plant for you to think about, oh yeah, I do resonate with what Sarah's saying. I do miss having all that time and space to reflect in my life. And maybe joining the Soul-Shine Labs would give you that time and space that you need. So just a little seed to be on the lookout for fall enrollment. All right. I also want to remind you that you have, if you are on my email list, you have my free video series, my 2553 tool, which is like my favorite reflective tool to use on a weekly basis, where you sit down at the end of every week, preferably Friday. That's what we do in the Soul-Shine Labs. And you're like, oh, the 25 things that are working in my life. This is a reflection. This is a meditation. This is a prayer. It gives you the same thing that we're talking about in these 4 questions here today. The space to brag, the space to lift yourself up out of your life and take a broader perspective of what's going on and what's working. And then to intentionally limit the things that aren't working, because our brains already give more importance to the things that aren't working. It's just how they were wired and how we've evolved. And so in order to put the things that aren't working, like the chaos that I ran into on the way to the recording studio, the knob falling off my car door, and what was the other thing? Oh yeah, the door that's swollen at the top and needs to be rehung in my back of my house. That is, as my father said, are we air conditioning the outdoors here, Tara? We are in my house right now, currently air conditioning the outdoors until that door gets fixed. But, this framework, the 2553, is like, okay, of course there are things that aren't working, but in order not to get like so deep in the weeds and going, of course it's not working. Of course this happened today. Of course we're getting ready to go on vacation. We're getting ready to spend a lot of money on all the things. Of course we have to have this other expense to pay for, right? You can hear the negative downward spiral of those thoughts. The 2553 is like, okay, we're going to put the things that aren't working aside until we talk about all of the things that are working for us. Gosh, I have this beautiful home. In my case, it's like how I started off this podcast talking about Nat. And I think, wow, he's 25 now. And We went into that children's hospital in 2009, 2009, and it's 2025. I mean, that's 16 years, 16 years of so many things that I have to be grateful for. I don't know how else to say it, right? 16 years of collecting lists of 25 things that are working more than the things that aren't working. 25 years of practicing holding this bigger perspective so that when the things that aren't working come up, I can just quickly see the solutions because as that, intro says, Einstein says, if Einstein says it, it has to be true. But, you can't solve your problems on the same level of thinking that you created them. So that's why this 2553 tool in that masterclass is designed to get you out of the problem thinking part of your brain, right? You can't solve your problems on the same level of thinking those problems were created. So you have to lift them up to that higher level of there are more things working intentionally. And so remember, if you have it, use it in the master class. If you don't have it, all you have to do is email me, Tara at Simkins, no P, SIMKINS.com, and I'll send you the link. That's it. That's all you have to do, or click the link to TaraSimkins.com in the show notes. Okay. Now, getting back to our 2025 July reset, I want to remind you a couple of really important things. You don't owe the rest of 2025 the goals that you had in January if they don't fit you anymore. I mean, truly, it could just be like some clothes that you have outgrown or that don't fit you anymore, right? You don't have to keep wearing baggy clothes or wearing clothes that are too tight for you. You may have already achieved those goals, or life may have thrown you a curveball and you need to set them aside. So I want to remind you this because I get this all the time and I call it this perfectionist fantasy thinking. It's like, oh, but I said I was going to do that and now I have to do it. And you're just like so tense for making yourself live up to something that you decided upon so long ago before you knew how the year was going to unfold. So you don't owe it to the year. There's no special principal or, referee that's going to penalize you if you just say, I'm going to set those aside. You don't have to drag around commitments or stories that no longer serve you. Truly, you could let go of anger or resentment that you've been holding. You could let go of waiting for someone to apologize or needing someone to see you in a certain way. If those don't feel right to you right now, just let them go. Choose something kinder, truer, more aligned with where you are today. A lot can change in 6 months, and you have already changed more than you think. Okay, so I hope you take this invitation seriously or lightly. However you need it, just take it. Take this invitation to pause, to reflect, to reset, and keep becoming the person you want to be. Because that is the person I want to celebrate and help you celebrate. Thank you, as always, for being here. Thank you again for listening, for giving your time. And again, if this episode gave you something to think about, I'd be so grateful if you shared it with a friend who might need it too. And don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Because, the mental load is real. And if you subscribe, it's so beautiful. You get these notices on your phone and you're like, a surprise every time. I do it with all the podcasts that I subscribe to. It's like I'm driving down the road or I get home and there's a little notification that something dropped, and it's just like a treat because, again, I'm all wrapped up in my brain, busy about trying to get it on vacation, get my car door fixed and the door to my house fixed, my back door fixed, right? It's like, oh, I forgot. I like to listen to that podcast. And it's like, poof, a surprise. So that can bring you great joy if you subscribe. And it also helps me. It helps me know what to program for you, what topics that you like the most. And it also helps me bring some more incredible guests on the podcast to talk about the things that matter and to lighten your mental and emotional load. So until next time, I hope you have an amazing time reflecting and pausing on these questions that I shared for you today. And again, you've got my email, tara@tarasimkins.com. And you also have comments if you're watching this on YouTube. I'd love to hear what you discovered in your July reset. Until next time, thanks.
'Cause I ain't done living the life I'm meant to lead. And I ain't done loving the ones who cared for me. The hope and the strength and the love and the smiles and the laughter of friends and family. Add it up, you'll find no limit to the possibilities. The left and the right and some faith in the fight, and your courage is all you